Hello YouTube land, it's me Jacob with Jacob Stuff. It's a Sunday evening and I decided I wanted to do a quick little video and show off some of the things that I made because I like to make things other than do my other usual videos, you know, like the unboxing videos. So yeah, I'm going to show you a couple of the tools that I made in this video and explain how I made them. First off, since I'm standing here next to my my little storage shelf thingy that I made, I'm going to show that first. So basically, the way that I made this, it's still a work in progress. It's not done yet. I'm going to add a couple more shelves right here. But yeah, so this here, the top shelf, I might go a little higher, but probably not. This top shelf was made by a old computer case. It's one of the things I like using for doing these storage bins. This is my second one that I've made, and I'm making it a lot more complex than the previous one that I made that you might have seen in my one of my earlier videos. But so yeah, each shelf was made by old computer case. This one I think is like 24 inches by 14 inches or something like that. You know, I'm not really sure. And then down here, this I actually fished out of the trash can. This is actually because a lot of the people in the complex I live in, they have thrown out some weird things. But this right here, it's you know, it's metal. It's actually like, I think, cast iron. It was from somebody had thrown out. I guess they had a table with a glass top that the glass top had shattered, I'm assuming, or whatever. So I saw this and I really liked it. It was made very sturdy, and so at the feet of it, this is about the height of it, and at the feet I have other older computer cases for other storage bins, and this is pretty much, you know, stack upon stack of shelving kind of thing, and I attached them. In this case, the top shelf was attached by a 4 bolts that I made holes in the computer case, and the 4 bolts are dropped through in the bottom down here, and they're, you know, bolted in place. And then also in my little storage bin of tools up here, I have this hammer that I modified, and it works very well now. It drives stuff in extremely well. Basically, at the bottom I have this little metal piece because I plan to have a magnetic board when I move all my stuff out onto the you know, where I'm going to have my area for making things in the future. But so I have this metal piece here that I got from some kind of metal spacer. But what happened to this hammer originally, which is one of the reasons why this end here doesn't look quite like what it's supposed to look like, it was a cheap hammer, and I was trying to pry something open, and the little pieces that, you know, that come out of here that you use for prying, the piece snapped off. So I basically cut it off the other one and sanded it a bit and made it like this, because I think that this way is a little bit better anyways for prying things. It's shorter, but it's much better. And with this top end here, I decided I wanted to make the front, you know, the part where you hit stuff with, a little different, because I didn't like the original piece, you know, this part right here, the way it was. wanted something with a longer neck as well. But so what I did was I got JB Weld and I attached this piece here from socket wrench. Yeah, I think it is. And I attached that to that, and this is pretty solidly on there. I mean, the JB Weld is holding it pretty well. And then I decided that I wanted to be able to have this. The reason why I used this socket wrench piece in the first place is because I decided I wanted to have the face of the hammer. As you can see right here, it's a different color from the rest. I decided I wanted to have a face that I could basically have any kind of like metal, essentially metal face on it. In this case, I have a bunch of old pennies shoved in there, and this thing, when you use it to drive anything, it drives it well. I used it mostly for my for when I use my center punch, and this sucker really, when you whack it, it's like a hot knife through butter. But anyways, there's that. Let me go on to the next tool that I made. I don't want to fall in from here because it's, like I said, the head is very solid. So, next on my list is one of my cutting tools that I made. This one was sort of my first try at making my own tools. This guy, you could tell it's very Frankenstein looking. What I did was I bought a cheap flashlight for the handle, cheap yellow flashlight, probably like maybe a couple dollar thing, and then I have this motor from some broken electronic thing, and I actually glued on this chuck from some other thing that broke. I like, modding things, let's say. And oh yeah, we're for those who care, 7.5 minutes in to the video. But yeah, so and then I found this really unique sort of bit piece that has this really sort of weird. Here, let me bring it in close to show you. It sort of has this weird sort of locking mechanism here. I don't know if you can see this. See how it sort of, you pull down on this piece and it locks, but it needs some kind of special cutting heads from Dremel to use this. But I have this set up in such a way, and I recently did this part, which is just to make it so you can attach batteries or a wire or something to the end. This is just a simple screw down terminal, and I have the wires out of the bottom, that go to the screw terminal, and then I have like a little electronics switch here. And this motor can take a lot of volts. The last time I tested it a couple years ago, I was putting, I think it was 31 volts and like 1 or 2 amps through it, and it was still slow as hell. And I didn't like that. So what I'm going to do when I get the chance, I'm going to see how much I could put through this. I could probably put much more than 30 volts through it, probably like 40 or 50 volts. And that would make this thing significantly fast. So there's that. Just one of my cutting tools. And then the next one, a completely different type of cutting tool. This is a really Frankenstein piece. This was from an old Dremel that the motor was crap and it like blew out. And I pretty much did the exact same thing like the other cutting one, but this one's sort of like a little mini reciprocating saw. And this piece, the orange piece, is from a Halloween pumpkin carving tool, like an electric one. And I found out through experimenting that this guy can do like 3 times what it was originally intended for. And it was originally intended for like three, like two AA batteries, which is 3 volts. But I found out you can do a lot more than 12 volts. And so that's why and then this case, I basically liked it because it was from the Dremel. And the motor that I use for this is another motor that I got from something else. But anyways, I had to make this hole bigger so that I could have another screw down terminal inside. I'm not going to open this and show it to you, but there's another one right in here. You could probably see it if you look at the image well enough. It's right there, the little sort of whitish clear piece. And the good thing about this guy is, though, because I used a lot of the guts from the Dremel, is that you can select speeds. You can go, slow, medium, or high. And I don't know what kind of voltage you can run through this, but the motor is pretty much the exact same as the one from that one, so I can imagine this can go really fast, but I don't think I'm going to really need it to be that fast. But anyways, that was that. And the reason I kept the zip ties on here is just because for some reason this piece doesn't seem to close too well, but now probably it's fine, but I keep the zip ties on it just because it looks very unique. Anyways, this is not one of my last tools, but this is more of an adapter. And this is my sort of crazy idea that I came up with in the middle of the night. This is so you can basically attach this to like a vacuum, but like the vacuum is like one of those kind of really strong, like 5 horsepower vacuums, the ones that, like the shop vacs, the really big ones that hold like 40 gallons of dry and wet stuff. But because the reason I picked that one in particular is because they do both suck stuff up, and they have a blowing option that you can plug in the back. So I was thinking to myself that if it blows, which means it puts out air, that you could probably, with an adapter of some sorts, you could have it like a sort of like an air compressor. And some people are probably laughing at me from this, and they're saying, why don't you just get an air compressor? And I'm like, well, I like to make creative things. This is creative. So what I did is I have here, this piece here, from this piece here to it going into here is from an old bike pump. The little piece that you connect to pump up the thing. And this little piece was Frankenstein together. This actually, the front piece here with the little brush pieces on it, which I kept just because it looks kind of cool, but so like it goes in. I have a little piece that goes into this, which connects to this. The air goes out through here. But yeah, so this is from this first piece is from one of those roller brushes on a normal stand-up vacuum, which I cut down and made it this size. And ironically, one end fit really well into this plastic piece, and this plastic piece I had to modify a little bit with some sandpaper and a drill to connect it to this. This part here is the part you connect to the vacuum. So it would be like this, and then you stick that onto whatever you want to pump up, and then you turn on the vacuum. So the air would blow into here and go out through here. So yeah, this video is getting kind of a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. It's already like 14 minutes into the video. Hopefully whoever watches this doesn't just watch the first 2 minutes and go, oh, boring. I'm trying to put up new content. Bear with me. And I just like to put things together and build them, and then tell stories, basically. You know how the I'm probably going to have some videos where I take stuff apart like I did in the past, but I'm trying to get content. So anyhow, I'm gonna go grab the other tool. I'm standing in one of the rooms, and I'm gonna go get it. I'll be back in just a second. This is the most recent tool that I made, and it works wonderfully. It's not that strong, but it's good enough for cutting. It's sort of like a grinder, and I know they sell them cheaply on the internet, but this was so much more cheaper. And not much like a lot of my other tools, it's Frankenstein together. And pay no attention to this. I just couldn't think of a no better way to hold the circuitry of this whole thing so that it would be safer. So essentially what I do with this guy is everything here is Frankenstein together, but it works. So first on, I have the grinding disc on here, which you can use to cut metal, and it actually does do the job because when I showed the hammer from before, I actually cleaned that up a bit with this. And it cuts. I'm going to test it on metal soon, but I have a feeling it's going to be fine because all of my tools seem to work. But anyway, so in here is the circuitry to control the motor. And the handle is basically a piece of wood covered by this bicycle handle cover, and everything goes into a screw-on terminal here, and basically it comes out here, goes into here, and then powers the motor, and it converts actually over from AC to DC, I think. Yeah, and this guy is like 120 volt DC motor, mostly because it converts from AC to DC, and it's like almost straight as far as I think. I'm not 100% sure, I don't remember, but and it moves pretty damn fast, but it gets the job done. It's not super powerful, but it's enough to cut through like thin stuff, like well, actually I've done it on some thicker stuff, but right now I use this mostly just for grinding, cleaning up things, and cutting PVC pipe. And it goes through all those things like nothing. And it may look weird, but it still works. Anyways, this video is getting really long. It's pretty much the last tool anyways. But anyhow, this is Jacob with Jacob Stuff again. Some new content. And the video is already over 18 minutes long, but I hope somebody watches it and really enjoys it. But anyways, subscribe, comment, and if you don't have, keep in mind, if you don't have a nice thing to say, don't say it. I'm sure most of you people out there have had your parents teach you that. So, good stuff. You can make comments about my stuff that I'm making and say, oh, suggestions and stuff. But if you don't have nice things to say, don't say them. But yeah, so that's it for now. Like I said, like, comment, share the videos. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and eventually, oh yeah, of course, don't want to forget about that. Even though I don't make too many videos, hit that notification button after hitting the subscribe button, and I'll be happy. Oh, and also, if you want to give money to me to do more videos in the future, you can go to my Patreon page, and there's a button on the main page to go to my Patreon page if you're using the desktop version of YouTube. If you're using the mobile version, I believe it's in the About page. But I'm going to put all that stuff in the description below anyways. But have a nice day. See you in the next video.